little busy today. So, David?
And David Moore, Dallas Morning News. How disappointed were you by Sam Williams' arrest, and what have your conversations or conversation with him been like since?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, in all these cases, you get all the information. I had a chance to visit with Sam right away, so he knows what he needs to do. We can all be better.
Clarence Hill for Star Telegram. You guys, there was a lot of talk about Sam's off the field stuff before the draft, and so you guys have done a lot of homework on him. But this is 2 incidences in 2 years. Are you seeing? Does he need a wake-up call? Or how do you view this?
Well, I think anytime you make a mistake, it's a good wake-up call. Absolutely. So, I believe in Sam Williams. Obviously did when we drafted him, and even more so now. So I've seen him grow in so many different ways. He needs to slow down, and he knows that. So that's the first step.
What about the other stuff that he had with him?
Well, I think the responsibility of that, and I'm not going to get into specifics of it because that's a legal situation. But his story, and when we sat down and talked about it first thing Monday morning, so I'm comfortable with the direction that he's going. He needs to learn from this.
Todd.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Todd.
Todd Archer with ESPN.
I'm sorry. I thought your name was Todd. Because he did raise his hand.
I didn't know his name was
Last week you told us about what DeMarcus Lawrence's work rate in practice has been higher. You've seen with Tyron. Is his higher than it's been in the last few years, and how do you think he's handled training camp this summer?
I think it's been a good camp for Tyron. I mean, there's just like anything, there's a lot of conversation that goes into specifically how you want to work your veteran guys, and I think the most important part of that is Tyron has hit the target. So I think he's had a really good camp.
Can he still be what he was as the All-Pro, Pro Bowl left tackle?
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, he's healthy. He's had a great offseason. He puts a tremendous amount of extra time into it. So I mean, his work ethic is top notch. But I think the reality of how long he's played is why we're being smart with him. And now you got Zach coming back off of a little bit of a layoff. So I mean, these next 2 weeks will be important in how we regulate their reps.
Saad.
He's with The Athletic. Mike, we talk about versatility in a lot of different positions, but in Dan's defense, that safety linebacker kind of tweener position, what goes into having a player that kind of fits that bill like Aaron?
I mean, just so much. Look at the guys that play the position. I mean, J.K. is so versatile, and I go back to when he was in Minnesota and I was across the way there. He was so impactful on special teams and just his opportunities, and I thought Detroit did a nice job, how they utilized him, and that's why we were attracted to him, and he's come in here and has just really kind of created that role as far as the versatility. I mean, you always talk about matchups. When you sit here and talk about matchups, it's usually how's the offense going to create favorable matchups for themselves. Well, we feel that J.K.'s talents creates matchups for us because he can take pieces away. In his football IQ, awareness, and instincts is top notch. So not only is he a huge chess piece, but he's an impact player.
Tolisa.
Thank you. After 2 preseason games, which side of the ball have you been more comfortable according to your vision for the next season?
I'm sorry, after the 2 preseason games?
Which side of the ball have you
Side of
been
the
more
ball?
comfortable?
Well, offense, of course, but so thanks for the layup. But no, I'm really focused on the young players. I've been spending a lot of time the last 2 days, and just with Will McClay, looking at other things that you always look at this time of year. So I'm really focused on the young guys, come Saturday night, and hopefully we can stay healthy. So we've had a couple injuries the last couple of days that have been tough. So hopefully we can come out of this healthy.
John.
John Michaud, The Athletic. With T.J. Bass, kind of what stood out to him or to you about him coming out of college, and what has he shown you since he's been here?
Well, it's just like anything. You get into personnel evaluation and things you see on film, but I think I'm just going back to my first impression. I mean, you can see the lower body strength, and then once you're able to bring a young player into your program, you gets to see him develop. He's had a good camp, but he's got unique lower body strength that I think so he has some potential, position flex. We don't know that yet because we're just getting started with him.
Calvin.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. You talked about Jordan Lewis's rehab's been going really good. How close is he to maybe practicing?
I mean, and we all love Jay Lewis, so I mean, he's definitely pushing it. He's ahead of schedule. So, but I don't have a decision on that for you today. But he's done very well.
Calvin Joseph's a guy, you got him here outside, and then now you got him inside and special teams guy. How do you really evaluate so far?
Well, I think it's like anything in this business. The more you can do, and I think Kelvin's has done a nice job of that. Playing three positions. He's been a primary player for us on special teams, and now showing the versatility to play outside, inside. It definitely makes a strong case for him. So he's definitely improved. I think we all forget. I mean, he's a relatively young man. What's he, 22, 23 years old? So, and I think sometimes, especially since the COVID and some of the age of these athletes coming out of college, he's still relatively young.
Go.
Michael Gelkin, Dallas Morning News. You guys give a lot of developmental time to your rookies and into year two as well. For your 2021 draft class, as of now, they're all here. But at some point going into year three, is that kind of where you guys kind of stiffen up your approach in terms of evaluation and take a little more rigid look as to where guys are and where they aren't?
Yeah, I think you have to. I think you need to alter it a little bit. I've been in this draft and develop mode since 2006, and I think the third year was a really consistent indicator when you looked at the draft classes. But I think we have to clearly recognize, what the pandemic has done on so many different fronts, and it's definitely, part of the effect of college football. Plus, there's obviously the landscape of college football has changed so much here in the last 3 to 4 years. I mean, there's other factors that involved in that too. So I think you got to really, lock in on players and clearly understand their personal path on, they could be further ahead or maybe not based off of their experience coming out of college.
Nick.
Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com. With Terrence Steele, once he was able to get back on the field and ramp up, you guys have seen quite a bit from him during camp. What have you liked from him as far as taking the next step on the field?
I'll just say this about Terrence: it's amazing. I mean, he attacked it. He attacked it. The surgery and the rehab just like you knew he would. But he hasn't had any setbacks. I mean, he hasn't missed anything that he wasn't scheduled to do. So I think that's incredible, coming off of a major joint injury. So he's done a fantastic job, just in the opportunity that's been in front of him as far as the availability. And he looks good. So I'm been extremely impressed with his camp.
Quinn.
You talked earlier about the hybrid safety linebacker position that J.K. plays. You talked a little bit about Marquise Bell. He told us that he was moving or being used at linebacker this week. Can you just talk about the decision and that about his versatility, replacing DeMarion? I mean, can you talk about
DeMarion and just all those things factor, but it's creating opportunities. I mean, it's getting down to it. I mean, I'm not looking forward to Monday. I mean, you got some decisions that are going to be made, and I think what you get to especially after that second game is, have we given every player, particularly the young guys, an opportunity to make the team or show that they belong, and I think like anything, it's more the 68, not just the 53 too. So that's why this last game is so important for these young players.
because of how you use your safeties, and certainly you have a lot of depth there. You had Wanye with the three, and certainly Marquise Bell. Is it easier to go heavy at safety and longer at linebacker? I mean, shorter at linebacker. I mean, is that part of the conversation?
I'm kind of laughing because I'm having a major deja vu right now, because I mean, you guys are all trying to fill out your 53-man rosters, and I'm trying not to help you. So yeah, I mean, it's position flex, and I think we're very fortunate for the number of safeties that we do have. Yeah.
Newey.
Louis Scruggs, NBC5, trying to help you fill out the 53 here. Can you envision 4 running backs on your final list?
Oh, I hope so, because I think there's definitely candidates to fill that out. But yeah, I mean, it's this is important game for those guys. You know, and I'll say this: Hunter hasn't been given a lot of opportunities. So I definitely want to see him play a lot Saturday night. So, you know, I definitely want to fill the void that's created sometimes where players haven't been given enough opportunities.
And with Rico Dowdle on the punt unit there, what is it that you guys talked to him about being in that kind of position? Was it unfamiliar to him, or can you take me through
You know, I'll be honest with you, that's really a strength of Rico's. You know, I mean, if you watch him in pass protection, and you know, going back to his first year, you know, he's a natural to play that wing position, and I think he just got lulled to sleep a little bit there because you know he, if you look at the I think it was the 3 rushes before that, and then he let him beat him inside. You know, he thought he was just going to get a hold up and you know you don't get beat inside on punt pro. I mean, we know that. So I think it's I'm chalking that up to a good learning experience for him.
Mike, Jeff Cole with Fox 4. Just going back to the running back position, when you're evaluating these guys, what are the difference-making factors that separate them?
Versatility. I mean, just look at the personnel groups that they play in. You know, I think offensive football, you know, the way I've always broken it down is you have 2 backs, 1 back, or no back offense. So what's their versatility to play in the 2-back schemes and 1-back schemes, and the ability to displace and play in empty formations. So, and I think all those guys have done a nice job in those areas. But then, you know, as we've talked about so many times in here, you know, the biggest change for us offensively has probably been in our protection. You know, so and the backs are part of that. So, and I think they've all done a nice job because it's relatively new for what we're asking those guys to do. So, I mean, all those things are part of their job description.
And what can you say about the opportunity for Will Greer?
Huge. He's gonna take the majority of it. So, and you know, I'm excited for him. I think Will has clearly taken a jump from last year. You know, and I mean, he's, you know, I like the way the whole room has improved. You know, I think Cooper's, you know, he's played very well in the first 2 games. So, you know, this Saturday night will be about Will.
Last one, Babe.
Babe Lockmer, Cowboys Radio. You're kind of in the projection business in the sense of you look at the college kid, draft, and projecting him as a pro, and then you get these guys as rookies, and you got to project where they're going to be in 2 or 3 years, as opposed to a guy who's been around the program for 2 or 3 years. Have you become better at that as the years have gone by in terms of knowing, well, I've seen this before and I know where that's going to go?
Yeah, I would say I better be, you know, for as long as you do this. But no, I think, but I think what I've learned, and I think it's common in any industry, I'm more patient. This pandemic and the changes in college football, I mean, it makes you check, because you know I can name a couple of guys that we gave up on too soon in Green Bay. That went on to be that had great careers. So, and you know, and that's a contradiction to being a draft and develop program. You know, so and I think there's more moving parts now. So I think the patience and clarity and let's not forget we have less time to development. I'm talking more specifically to linemen. So that the challenge is bigger. So I think you know, patience and clarity on where an individual is, you know, and really have a clear understanding what his starting line is, because they all don't come here with the same starting line. So, and that's the way I've always viewed it. But I think you have more variables today than you did 10 years ago.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.